What's
Yeah,
up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hardwood Homies. And today we're going to come with a fan favorite. We're coming with the Duke Blue Devils with another team preview. So,
yeah, a team people love and also love to hate.
yeah,
So we figured
definitely.
we'd break them down this week. Where do you want to start with them?
Um, let's just
Just
talk
like
results. I mean, they're not results necessarily, but they're seventh seed or seventh ranked team right now.
yes, no, they're seventh ranked team in the country with the
Yeah.
poll that came out today. It's Monday.
Just
Uh,
4 losses on the year.
23-4 and 13-3 in ACC play. They're sitting at the top of the conference by a game, actually,
Right.
over Notre Dame right
Mm-hmm.
now. So they've had a. This is weird. I didn't think I would say this about Duke, but I actually think they've been kind of forgotten about and underrated this season, which I always feel like they're usually favored.
Yeah, they're
but
usually not. They haven't been talked about a whole lot in terms of being a contender this
especially
year.
for their record. All of their
Mhm.
losses have come by a total of they have 4 losses and it's 9 points altogether, which is
Yeah.
like pretty good. They lost Miami, your team. They lost at Florida State, to Virginia at home, and
Ohio State.
and at Ohio State. That was their largest loss of 5. So I mean,
Yeah.
they're I don't know, they're a really good team. But what do you think their strengths are? I guess.
Strengths is just overall talent, I guess I would say.
No, I kind of like that.
They're kind of an interesting team in that they don't necessarily run the craziest sets or any sort of they don't have a real structured offense. They just have so many guys that are talented enough to get them buckets that they don't do a whole lot, which sometimes results in them being a little bit stagnant. But for the most part, they are a really talented offensive team that puts up points and they win their games. So
Yeah, top 20 in points per game, averaging over 80, which is weird because you were telling me they don't play that fast.
no, they don't play very fast. They pick and choose their spots. They're good in fast break. They're kind of similar to actually Kentucky, I would say, in terms of pace of play and stuff. Sometimes they play a little faster, sometimes they slow it down.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes from them not really having a true identity offensively necessarily. They don't. Sometimes if they don't get a look right away, they tend to slow down and just wait for one of their stars to get an individual bucket or something. They go ISO and run it to the end of the clock and hit a shot or something.
Yeah, ISO. I don't know if that holds up.
Yeah,
late season, but well, they have 3 McDonald's All-Americans. So
yeah.
They have plenty of stars. I mean, who they have? Keels. He's one of them.
Keels, Bancaro, and
then
AJ Griffin.
Griffin, and I hadn't heard of him actually.
Well,
kind of sad.
He started off the year pretty slow, and then his coming out party was against North Carolina. He had 27 or something,
Okay.
and I think he's honestly makes a light and day difference for their team. If he plays aggressively, they look like a completely different team than when they don't. For example, against North Carolina, they had 27 or whatnot, and they just looked unstoppable. But
1 sec, I'll be right back.
I'll just keep going.
Keep
We
going.
got somebody at the door, but just get it. So anyway, but then without him, they played Virginia, and I think he had maybe 4 points in the entire game. So they just looked like they didn't really have a lot going offensively. But
Okay, I'm back.
yeah,
That was the most eventful thing. Yeah, we have some company
some
at
hooligans are out there.
the door. So wait, where were you? You were. I know we were talking about Griffin.
Yeah, no, I
You
talked
were
about
impressed by
Griffin.
him.
He had like 27 points against North Carolina. They looked like they couldn't be stopped offensively. And then they played Virginia a couple days, weeks later or whatever, a week later. And he had like 4 points, didn't hardly take any shots, hardly saw the ball, and they didn't look like they could score very well. So
And they lost on a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They had a few. Yeah. Okay. No, I that's my guy on their team is actually not one of the McDonald's All-Americans. Or they also have Wendell Moore, who's a really good player. He's not a freshman, so he provides some, I guess, veteran
I would almost argue
experience.
he's their best player.
Yeah. I know against I don't know. I was going to say against Gonzaga, he really showed up, if I'm remembering
Yeah, he
correctly.
did.
But
Yeah, he had lot of their points towards the end. Banchero had a really good first half in that game, but then he got cramps or something and didn't play a whole lot of the second half. And Wendell Moore had a couple big buckets at the end to seal the win for him.
And they have a pretty good front court. Mark Williams is kind of my guy. He's one of those players that whenever I've watched him, I am really impressed by him. I feel like he's really good defensively, and he definitely can get buckets too. But I was looking this up. I didn't expect to find this, but he is shooting over 70% from the field.
Yeah, so which isn't surprising. It's mostly dunks.
Yeah, and then Theo John is he? I'm trying to think. Do they play together a lot, or it might be backup?
They kind of rotate in for each other mostly. I don't think they're on the court a whole lot of the time together. But also Theo John just hasn't been playing a ton lately, so I don't know. No, he hasn't been doing much. I think he's averaging like maybe 3 points a game.
Early on, he was pretty impressive. He was just really physical. So I always was like, oh.
That's the thing is that everyone's so quick to just Banchero. But Duke is made up of a lot of talented players. Griffin is good. Moore's good. Williams is good. Roach is even pretty good at times. But
Jeremy Roach?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to picture him. But they actually, they do have a lot of players.
They have a couple more weaknesses than some of the teams we've done so far. Like Gonzaga and Kentucky wasn't really anything that noticeable. But Duke has had a couple games where they've had some real problems defensive rebounding and some real turnover problems as well.
What was that? I don't know. You were telling me their like point guard position isn't that like it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not super solidified. Their leader in assists is Moore, who is listed as a forward on ESPN. So I mean, and it's not that crazy. It's like 5 assists a game or 4.
It's 4
or something. Yeah, but they just don't have a crazy offensive identity or anything, or a guy that's gonna create a lot of shots for him. It's just kind of get your own.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
But in
like
terms
NBA style.
Yeah, in terms of defensive rebounding, I think they gave up 19 offensive rebounds to Kentucky and Virginia. And they ended up beating Kentucky, but looking back at the stats, they had some definite issues in that game. Kentucky just shot the ball really, really poorly.
Yeah, that was a game I was really dismayed with Kentucky, and now they've turned it. I would like to see them play now.
Yeah,
that would be.
It was really sloppy. I went back and rewatched that game a little bit before this, and man, there was a lot of sloppy play going on, especially in the first half.
Where, in terms of draft stock, I'm curious with those 3. Where they?
I would say Griffin and Banchero will both be lottery picks, I would guess.
Griffin?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, he's got all the tools to be. I think he's going to just be shooting up draft boards in the future. So
yeah. And Keels, I mean he
was
I have the
really
guy
no
I noticed because early on he was doing really good, and
I
don't know. It was Griffin kind of came out of nowhere for me as someone who doesn't watch them every day. Mm-hmm. You were telling me about him.
He's just got such a smooth pull-up jumper, and can dribble it well. He's athletic. He's definitely has the tools for the next level.
Yeah,
Keels he's a little shorter. Doesn't shoot it insanely well, like 30% on the year from 3, which is fine. But when you're going to be a smaller guy that's not really a pass, not much of a creator or anything, it's hard to make a living in the NBA at that size.
Yeah,
to be a slashing point guard at 6'2" or whatever he is.
Who knows? He may stay a few years, get a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say that he'd probably benefit from staying. Maybe kind of like a Trayvon Duval role.
Oh, yeah.
From a couple years ago. Yeah. Which is interesting. That actually reminds me. I was looking at their metric stats and stuff like that. And I went to compare their resume. So there's this thing it's called T-Rank College Basketball Metrics. And you can actually compare their resume with teams from the past and see which teams they play the most like and stuff from past. And the number one team that they're most like was the 2018 Duke team.
Is that Zion?
No, this is actually Grayson Allen senior year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Bagley, Duval.
Okay.
And those guys that made the Elite Eight. And I just thought that was pretty interesting that they're most like that team. So I thought it was kind of interesting.
I don't know. They just dropped out of conversation. I think they had lost to they lost to Virginia, and I had almost thought they lost a few games there. They hadn't.
Yeah, no, they played a
Maybe.
lot of close games with some teams
I
that
guess
they
that's where
probably
they
shouldn't
lost.
have been close with. Beat
Okay.
Clemson by 2, beat Wake Forest by 2,
Yeah.
especially at home. On the road against Wake, I could see, but at home, they probably should win by more than 2 points.
Yeah, I don't know. Going through their schedule, I was like, this is a team that could do really well and would probably surprise people to an extent, but really shouldn't because they don't have a bad loss. They don't have.
Miami at home is not a great loss.
Oh.
I like Miami, but they're so much more talented than
But
us.
isn't that quad one?
No, not even close.
No.
Because they were at
Oh,
home.
they're at home. Okay.
Yeah, it might even be.
You think it's 3?
It's probably 2, but
Yeah, at this point it's a 2. But I don't know. Duke is.
it's weird because they're so much more talented than every team in the ACC. North Carolina's close, but they have their whole other issue. They don't play any defense at all. They might be the worst defensive team in the ACC this year, and I don't even mean that like they might be worse than Boston College, Georgia Tech, NC State, all these teams that have been horrible in the ACC this year. I think that their defense is probably better than North Carolina's.
Okay, geez. Well, we'll get to North Carolina more later.
Yeah,
but
we're going to hit them at some point too.
Does Duke run away with the ACC? They don't have a tough schedule, in my opinion. They play, I want to say, at Pitt, at Syracuse.
I
they have a
think
few more games.
I think that Miami's loss to Virginia dang near solidifies Duke as the regular season ACC for sure.
Okay.
I don't know about the tournament. I would still lean heavily on Duke just because there's should be a lot better than everyone, but now Notre Dame would have to make up 2 games on them because they lost head-to-head.
Oh, yeah.
So they're basically 2 games ahead of everyone.
Well, and Duke plays North Carolina at home. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's a rivalry game, but we saw last time how that shaked out.
I would say Duke's more likely to lose on the road to Virginia.
Yeah, that's their only kind of tough game I feel like they have
Yeah.
left. But and you see them as a 2 seed. That's where they have them at right now, I believe.
2 or 3.
You think could they sneak into 1?
I don't think so.
Because I even feel like some of the teams, if they lose, Duke still wouldn't. I don't think Duke could pass.
Yeah, no, I don't think Duke has enough on their schedule to really boost them past any of the top teams. I think that whoever wins the Big 12 will be a 1 probably.
That's true.
Whoever wins the SEC will probably be a 1, especially if it's Kentucky or Auburn.
Yeah.
And then Big 10. If Purdue struggles, maybe not. They've lost definitely some games. So maybe I don't know.
If Gonzaga wins,
Arizona,
I don't know. If they lose, do they stay? I don't know.
Arizona and Purdue would probably have to lose at least 2 more games, and Duke would have to win out probably for them to.
I would agree
to jump those guys, but
okay, yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see where do you think their ceiling is. I don't.
Oh, they could win the championship.
Okay.
They could. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be hesitant to pick them to win the championship, but there's no reason they couldn't.
No, I agree with that. I definitely don't want to say they're going to win.
I think their floor is a little lower than some of the teams we've done so far.
Yeah,
it's a team that can shoot the ball poorly at times. They hover around 6 made threes a game, which is not very many.
No.
And then you run into a team that shoots the ball really well. And I was going to say this earlier. They're not a particularly good defensive team. The stats will say that they've been fine, but that's mostly because of individual efforts defensively. Like with Williams, blocking shots inside, that helps him out a lot. But if he's, foul trouble or something, but yeah. In terms of position defensively, they're not in very good position to help defense that often. They don't really stay connected defensively at times. So, I don't know. They have some definite issues where if they run into someone that could get hot, they could go down fairly early. So, I'd say their floor is lower than Kentucky or Gonzaga.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, that's the thing. They're based on their schedule and roster. I'd say, they can win the title, but I just don't. I don't see Coach K's final year ending the way I think a lot of people want to see it end. But they may prove me wrong.
Yeah,
it
would just be interesting to see them really turn everything on late, because it seems like they haven't had very many games this year where everything's clicked for 'em.
Like the Gonzaga game is one
Right.
of the few where I can
That's a
say,
long, and
yeah.
that's a long time ago.
November. Yeah.
Kentucky,
Maybe
not
December,
really even
but yeah.
everything clicked that game. They were able to win.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they can put it all together somehow for the tournament. Maybe they, raise their level once they know that it's do or die time. But
Yeah. I say this is one of those teams that I will actually say that you should probably watch more of in the ACC tournament. Sometimes I think you get a false read on teams, but if this team gets hot, you could probably start to see it there.
It's really hard to go off of the ACC stuff just because no one is giving the ACC any credit. So if Duke beats
That's
anyone,
true,
it's
that's
like,
true.
oh, well, they're better than them. They should win.
Yeah, actually,
The only time it's eye-opening for Duke in the ACC is if they lose.
Yeah. I don't know.
Winning at UNC big that was a good
That was
win.
impressive. I'm surprised they didn't get a little more boost after that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with Duke. They got a lot of passionate fans. So what team are we doing next?
We could do Arizona next.
Oh, okay.
Wanna do
Yeah,
Arizona next?
we'll enjoy that. Yeah, we'll do Arizona next. I don't know. Any more thoughts on Duke?
Not really. Hopefully Coach K can get over his sickness and all that stuff,
I
and
agree.
at least have a solid ride throughout the rest of the
I
year.
agree. I early on our podcast, I kind of had some strong feelings for some stuff he did, which I don't back down from. But yeah, you got to hope he's in good health and can finish
Right.
out. He's a legendary coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can
So.
finish out his last year and then turn the reins over to Shire.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in. This was the Duke team preview. I hope you enjoyed it.
And make sure you subscribe.
We didn't say it.